Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing great. Welcome to our today's session of Meet the Global Leader. This webinar is organized by School of Entrepreneurship Development. The objective of this webinar is, as our audience are students who are currently studying at universities. So this webinar is about sharing professional lessons, insights, and how to develop some skills and how to implement skills in different professional sectors. That's why we invite people from around the world who are in professional sector. So we would like to share their mindset, how they do things, develop skills, and implement skills, and it actually helps our audience to create awareness among them and to broaden their mindset globally. So today we have invited Miss Dora Crișan. She is actually uh, if I introduce her in bit, so she's an HR and business development associate at Evozone and a career counselor in training. With a background in psychology and a passion for development, she's here to share her insights on various professional lessons and some advice for students. She has a wealth of experience in HR, from conducting interviews to planning events. She is also actively involved in training, having delivered sessions for students, which is related to us, and participated in Train the Trainers program. I'm confident her expertise will be incredibly valuable to you all. So, without further ado, let's hand over to our guest speaker. Dora, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for the introduction and thank you so much for inviting me. I am really, really grateful to be here. And I am well. Busy days, but can't complain because I like busy, so it's great. How about you?
Great. So far all good. It's like it's a working day, but now like after work, doing this volunteering work. So there are, our audience, they're actually studying at universities. So we try to connect student life and professional life to give them some insights and to give them some food for thought how to design their career before graduation. So if you share how was your student life and some of the activities or associations that actually helped you develop some skills, and how was your student life in, yeah, in brief, for this audience?
Oh, I love this question because I loved being a student, although I had a really, I would say, non casual experience. I mean, I don't think you meet that a lot because I was studying in two universities at once. I started studying psychology and business on site at the time. And then after 2 years of doing both on site, I was quite busy and didn't really have time for much else. I had a small job in between, and but nothing long term. And then the COVID hit, as I'm sure you all know, and we all went through similar things, and it was quite hard for most of us. But it was fun in the sense that I got to write my thesis in peace because that's what I was doing at the time. And I finished both of them in the end, not at once, but I delayed one of the theses. So I finished my psychology bachelor first and then my business bachelor. And with the COVID and with everything, I somehow also managed to go and have some extracurricular activities, especially with EPSA, which I will probably tell you more about later. But EPSA was the European Federation of Psychology Student Associations, which I was part of, and I still am doing sometimes training sessions for them. They organize events all over Europe for psychology students, which I'm pretty sure you can find something like that in all fields, not necessarily only psychology. I'm pretty sure there's something at the European level for all students. Um, and all global level even, I heard. So there are a lot of universities implied in all sorts of actions. But yeah, my student life was hectic. I loved it. I loved going to school for some reason because I didn't love it in high school. But then once university started, it was really something I wanted to study, and I really felt like I was supposed to be there. So yeah, that was my university life in a nutshell.
Great. So you've mentioned several things. One of it is the volunteering activities and the joy in your face when you're sharing about these experiences. So, like sometimes students find it difficult to match the balance their time, like studying or at the same time doing volunteering works. So how did you manage your time? And if you suggest, like, for students, if they are planning or are involved already with volunteering activities, how they can, like, balance their academic studies as well as their volunteering work, because sometimes some of the students invest their time heavily after volunteering works, like uh, not studying that much. So how students can balance and importance of doing volunteering works when they're studying at the universities.
Right. I see multiple questions there. I'm gonna first answer with the importance of doing voluntary work. So, of course, it's not mandatory. I don't think all employers look at whether you've done some voluntary work or not. But what I do believe is that it gives you a chance to actually try something out, something else rather than studying, because we all heard or we all already experienced some of the real world, let's say, or real work in real life settings and real life environments, and it's not really the same as studying them. Not always, anyways. So I think my direct advice, I don't usually give advice, but I would say just try it. Just try something you might like. Maybe you like it, maybe you find out you don't like it, and that is also very valuable, finding out that you don't like something. This is how you find out more about yourself, about your professional self, let's say, by actually trying things out, going out there, um, doing whatever it is that you can hop on. Maybe it's an event, maybe it's a long term commitment to an NGO in your community, or whatever it is. I would just suggest to try it, and don't be afraid of balancing things, because I think, of course, balance is a really nice word, is a cute keyword, and it gives you peace. But as students, your life is not really balanced anyway, is it? Whether you're doing voluntary work on the side or not. So I would just say it works differently for everyone. And you should definitely give it a try, because, of course, at some point you're going to neglect volunteering. At some point, you ought to neglect your studies or your exams or whatever it is. But with time, you will learn to balance them in your way. So task manage you can't learn task management and time management without actual tasks, right? So you have to have a lot to do in order to learn how to manage it, and it really works different for everyone. So my advice would be just try, and don't be afraid you won't have enough time. You would be surprised how many hours you have in a day when you actually like what you're doing, or when you want to try something exciting out. So that would be my answer.
Great, great. And that is actually true, because if you overthink something, like whether it is going to work or not, how am I going to balance my time? So it is going to create barriers. So after your student life, tell us about your after graduation. What did you do? How did you start your professional journey?
Okay, I started, well, actually, in my, I don't know how it's called in English, but I have like a work book. Everyone has a workbook in that records how many years you worked. And I actually worked during my first year at uni as a kindergarten paraprofessional. I was a former, like a teacher, kindergarten teacher for private kindergartens in my city, and I was teaching science add-ons to children. But I did that for only 9 months or so. So I would say after graduation, I did have some skills that I use in my actual job that I used with children, because it's different, but you would be surprised how many things they have in common, adults and children. Um, well, I honestly, when I graduated, after I graduated psychology, I had like a month of vacation, like summer vacation. And then I thought, okay, let's try something to do this summer, maybe sign up for a 2 months internship or an opportunity to keep myself busy, really. And I ended up at Evozone, where I still am 3 years later. So I would say I didn't really plan on being there for so long, but I liked them, they liked me, so that happened. But what I did sign up for was a marketing and branding internship, which is no longer what I do at this company. And I had no previous experience as a marketer or digital marketer or brand specialist or whatsoever before this. But one of my former colleagues from university already worked at Evozon, at this company, and she told me, hey, they have this opening, why don't you try it out? I think you'd fit great. And I was like, how can I fit? Because I'd never actually did on paper marketing for companies. But then I looked at my resume and at my experiences, and I thought, oh well, I wrote this article for this NGO. Once I took these pictures and I did some sort of visual promotionals for them, and I added up things that had to do with marketing, really, or sales even, that I did before, and I did my marketing portfolio, and yeah, it happened. Apparently, I was a good intern for them, but then I continued with something else. I don't want to be too long with this answer, so here you go.
So, like here in, especially in Bangladesh, in some cases, what we see is if you are in HR professional, you have to do your major in bachelor you have to study HR. If you want to go to marketing, in major case in most cases, with our major should be in marketing. That's actually one of the misconceptions among students or professionals, or maybe the culture is like that. So you studied psychology and business, and you also had experience in marketing, branding, and now we are in HR. So as like business development associate, how do you see that your major, the things that you study, how you actually emphasis psychology and business administration? What motivated you to combine these seemingly different fields, as people say, and how have they synergized in your career journey?
Hmm. Um, some of it, I'm not gonna lie at all in this during this interview. So I would be very honest and say some of it was chance. I didn't really plan most of the things that happened, which is okay. I made the decisions when I had to cross the bridge, you know how they say. And yes, you don't really have um, predictability all the time of what's going to happen. And when I chose these two fields of studying, like psychology and business, my thoughts were quite vague, but they were somewhere around the thought that I was like, well, they both open a lot of doors for you. They both um, seem quite different at first, really, but they are actually both social sciences. They're both deeply connected to human behavior and to how the human brain works and how people make choices. And well, of course, psychology has its focus on the fundamental aspects of emotions and cognition and behavior. But this field equipped me with the insights that were really great in business administration also. And business administration for me was a field that provided me with actual concrete, like, facts. And I don't know, I studied economics and I studied finance and business finance and public finance, and I had to do a lot of math, which was also great. It was like a different muscles groups that I worked out. It felt like that for me. And um it's just they synergize a lot, and they are very, very connected. Like, my psychology background, for example, has enabled me to actually, for example, just provide a productive work environment for people, or understand their needs better and address their needs better, and sometimes address their motivators or find out their motivators, because not everyone has the skills to know how the human mind works. And I am really, really lucky to say that I learned a lot from the psychology part. And similarly, in business, in marketing, and in customer relations, for example, psychology principles can always help. In everything you do, you can use psychology principles, really. And they guided me in even crafting messages for people when I did recruitment, or um, yeah, pretty much understand my target audience as a marketer. For on the other hand, a lot of, I can find I think I can find a lot of examples, but this would be it.
Yeah. Yep, because of that time limitation. But yeah, I mean, like students, sometimes they get advices like you have to have leadership skills, communication skills, and so many skills. And with AI, blockchain, some technological advancement that are already evolving, happening, and coming in our ways. So like there's so many skill sets that we like, and students. Are like hearing about or getting advice like that. So sometimes like some of the students are confused about how to develop some basic skills, and like what are the uses of those skills. So in your case, as you mentioned earlier, and that you are actively involved in volunteering and programs like EFPSM. So how did these experiences help you develop the skills and gain exposure relevant to your career path?
Yes, with EPSA specifically, because you mentioned again the European Federation of Psychology Students Associations. I know it's quite a mouthful, but just trying to get involved in European or global projects really actually helped me gain a better perspective, like a global perspective of what I'm doing and what other universities are doing and what other students are doing. And also the fact that I started practicing my English, which was also honestly very useful, because I did take an English exam, the Cambridge exam, when I was in high school, but I didn't really practice speaking. So I was really good at reading and writing, but not really at speaking. So that helped a lot. Also, the research summer school I did with them, and every event I attended actually really gave me so many insights into what a psychologist can do. And I think that applies to everything you guys are studying, because you think you know what options you have after uni, but you don't really. So then meeting a lot of people from your field, maybe as young as you, maybe older, maybe younger, really gives you a lot of new insights. Diversity is really key in making decisions and in just getting to know the world and exploring your options and yourself in the meantime. I think, I think that would be it.
No, that is true. That is true. And the thing that you mentioned is it's all about diversity. And one of the very key factors we when we actually engage with other people, maybe from other universities or maybe like minded or university students who are staying at different universities, how they're thinking, their mindset, it is actually a good way to know about how to deal with different type of people and how other students are thinking that way. So in that case, like case competition, business competition, attending different seminars, workshops will actually help them broaden their mindset and what to do and how to do. In most cases, like after last semester, students actually go to do their um, internship. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, maybe my internet is. So like they actually go to do their internship, but most cases they actually don't take it seriously. So in your case at Evozone, can you walk us through the steps you took to transition from intern to human resources specialist, highlighting the skills you honed along the way?
Of course. I mean, I can try. This happened quite a long time ago, but I can try and do that. I mean, it's really hard to take something seriously if you don't like it, I guess. I mean, I would think that would be the reason. Like, you're not engaged because you don't see maybe the actual benefits you gain out of what you're doing. So then I would just advise you to quit or try something else, or try to see, talk with your manager or talk with the person who's your mentor or who's responsible with you and your what you're doing, your direct manager, and say something. Just try to do a little bit of job design. Try to say, okay, these types of tasks do not engage me at all. Like, I can try and do them, but I won't do a great job because I'm really not fit with for this type of work, and that's okay. Maybe you're not fit for it, maybe you don't like it, maybe you're not good at it at all and you don't want to get better. That's okay. You can always find something to do in a company, or if they need someone else, then it's just not a match, and that's fine. I really like to compare this as a relationship. It's really like a relationship. Sometimes you are great, they're great, but you just don't work together, and that's fine. That's completely fine. In my case, transitioning from my internship to my HR role was weird because actually when I started my marketing internship, my manager was like, okay, you're in an exploring point in your career, because that's what I told them. And they said, let's try something new also. Do you want to be a part-time marketer and a part-time recruitment intern? And I said yes. And so I did recruitment throughout most of my time in Evozon, even though I was an HR, which meant I took care of a specific department in the company. The transition was quite rough, even though the departments were in the same company, basically. So I knew the people, I knew the values of the company, I knew what was happening there. But after 3 months of internship, it was really hard to transition to an HR because the tasks were very different. The people that I had to work with were also different. Um, I think what I learned was responsibility, because as a marketer, I didn't really, yeah, like, yes, I posted on social media, I did all sorts of marketing campaigns, but I didn't really feel that work ethic kicking in until I was actually responsible for a group of 120 people. You know what I mean? So that challenged me a lot. And also time management, because I was a recruiter or an HR, and at some point I didn't really so I didn't cut out the marketing completely. At some point I was a marketer and a recruiter and an HR all in one. So that really taught me how to balance my tasks and really how to prioritize, because that was key. So it was hard. I couldn't really put my finger on what the steps that I took, but I took it day by day. It was certainly a transition. It was not from one day to the next I was the perfect HR. No, by far. I really had to learn a lot.
Great. Like in our professional life, there are some challenges we face. So, as a students, they have to face the same thing. So, in that case, according to you, how students or professionals can, like tackle challenges in life, how to overcome those for students, for professionals? If you share one or two advice based on your experience.
How to overcome struggles? Okay. Um, I'd say try to think of other times in your life that you went through um, that made you go through a really challenging time, and try to think that you're okay now, and whatever happened, you did it, you went through it, you are whole. And take your confidence from there, take your confidence from your friends or people close to you that know you, and actually give you honest feedback and tell you that you can do things and you are capable of so much more. Look at people that are similar to you, maybe your friends that have similar backgrounds, similar abilities, maybe, and that are doing something that you dream of doing or maybe would try to pursue. Um, you can you can really take your self-efficacy from others and from those past experiences that were in the end overcome, and also try to think that you don't really know what's going to happen next, and nobody does. So I would really advise to try and become more resilient and more tolerant to frustration, because failure is going to happen, a lot of struggles are going to be on the way, whatever path you choose. So don't overthink, don't try to make the right choice, there is no such thing. I would just advise you to think about what struggles you want to go through, because your the struggles, they're always going to be there, but think about, okay, what type of heart do I want? There's also a meme or a, I don't know, a motivational speech about that, I think. Yeah. And resilience is one of the key skills, I think, of this century. And the COVID has proven us that. The wars have proven us that. So
Yep, yep, that's right. And like for students, sometimes like they get some advice, they seek mentorship in different cases from their seniors, from their like alumni who are in different professional sectors. Uh, in some cases, like identifying right mentor or right advisor is very important. And sometimes, like we tend to intake, like sometimes students tend to intake negative, like information, like there are no jobs. If you don't have this information or knowledge, you are not fit for the corporate, like professional sector. And there are so many negative things. So mentorship is very important. So according to, as you are a mentor and aspiring career counselor, what advice would you give to students seeking mentors or career coaching support?
okay, thank you for the question. Let me think a little bit about that. I'd say, in terms of practical advice, um, look for a mentor. Sure, it's really helpful, but sometimes I think the struggle is to pick the domain in which you want to mentor, because you don't really know what you are going to pursue. So then just look for a person who you admire and whose ethic you admire, whose skills you admire, and just way of working. They don't have to be there. It's not like a role model, because you don't really have to see someone as perfect in every way. Just think about their professional self and what do you admire about them, and in what way they are a model to you, and pursue them, and just approach them and ask them for advice, ask them for a meeting, for coffee. People are usually very open to that, even if you write them on LinkedIn, even if you write them on Instagram or whatever platform you're using and you found them on. um, you definitely have nothing to lose by asking them. And yeah, I would just say, just do it, just expose yourself and try to be there and try to find someone. But also know that you won't fit from the first point, so maybe from the first time. I feel like you maybe have to go through a process of finding the right mentor, and trying with one, trying with another. It's perfectly fine that you don't find the perfect match from the first time. um, and just in seeking career coaching support, I would say There are definitely NGOs that are helping with that. Take a look online. You take a look on Google. Maybe go find some career management NGOs. I know there are not a lot. It is actually a very niche field and thing to do as an NGO, but do your best and try to find some. There are certainly some. I know I am part of one in Romania that does that. Unfortunately, we're not international yet. We don't have anything written in English yet, but we are working on that. Evo Carrera is working on becoming international, and you can always ask me. Maybe you have my email. I don't know if there's any contact information about me, but you have my name, so you can just let me a message on LinkedIn, and I will try and help. And obviously, I think just trust the process. I know it's very cheesy and perhaps you hear that everywhere, but everyone has a right time. Don't rush it. You are very young, most probably if you're studying in uni. So I would say try things out, get out of your shell, but trust the process. So of course nothing would happen if you just don't look for opportunities. No one would come and say, hey, come take this grant, or hey, come apply for this research summer school, or hey, do that. No one's going to do that. You have to do it yourself. So be proactive. Be proactive in searching for opportunities. Be proactive in taking everything, all the matter into your own hands, I'd say.
Absolutely, and this is priceless. The advice that the point that you mentioned, like it is us. We have to, like seek for opportunities. What I like, what I don't like, it is up to us. So if we don't seek opportunities proactively, or like you mentioned, maybe career coaching support, there is LinkedIn and other digital tools, network that they can, like go and seek support. And in today's world, everyone based on their availability, they will definitely provide support, mentorship based on their availability. And like everyone likes people who are students who are proactive. Like, so for example, yeah, we will also share your emails so that all the students who wants to like know more, who have questions apart from our these questions, they can reach out to you and like seek support. So it's about them. If we don't explore, like students, if they don't explore what do they like, what are the professional or entrepreneurial world looks like. It is not nothing will be come at their doorstep by themselves. It is not that much easy. So like students have to go look, seek for opportunities, seek for information, and whatever they want. They have to give some little effort to like make themselves like exposed to information and resources.
Definitely
And
get out there.
like,
Yeah. And just one
exactly.
second, I remember the name of a platform that actually provides a list of a lot of opportunities for pupils and students and so on. I think it's called Opportunities Corner, just written like that, Opportunities Corner. And you can find a lot of opportunities there. Even I found some there and I pursued them. So really take a look. It's a free website. Anyone can access it.
Definitely, like you see, information is there, and they're waiting that someone is going to, like seek those information and use those wisely. Like with your experience in digital workplace management, what insights share can you share about the future of work and managing virtual teams effectively?
Yes, thank you for the question. So first of all, I studied this course as a summer course in Paris at EM Normandie in 2022. Yes, 2 years ago now. It was called Digital Workplace Managing Virtual Teams. So, for the record, I'm not a manager. I never managed virtual teams, but actually, I coordinated in a way project teams for writing proposals or implementing something quite small, but not for a very long period of time. And as an HR, I also had to, in a way, coordinate my department or my team for different activities or different tasks that they had to do together. So in a way, I did have a lot to do with virtual teams, because most of us work remotely. We work from, well, my company is Romanian, but we still have people working from everywhere. So what I did learn when working with people from clients or just people that are a different culture than yourself is try to learn a bit about their culture. Cultural sensitivity is really important when communicating with different clients. There are now teams in companies, and I'm sure you are very much aware of that. There are teams that mix people from India, people from Romania, people from the UK, from the US, and you can imagine the cultural shock that comes clashing when these people are together. So even dimensions like very simple dimensions like individualism and collectivism, they can impact the way people collaborate. So I would say, as an HR, my takeaway from that was implement, for example, a sensitivity training or a cultural training when there's case, and try to open communication and build trust. That would be it. But as a simple participant in this, I would say in a virtual team, I would say be interested, be curious about the other people in your team and the other cultures that you have to interact with. Be curious about them, and this would save you a lot of trouble.
Okay. Many students focus solely on technical skills, like because of technological advancement. Um, what soft skills and personal qualities do you emphasize as crucial for career success?
Wow. Okay. Okay, good. First things first, I would say soft skills do not have to be underrated. As a recruiter, I went through hundreds of interviews in which my manager or my recruitment manager or my technical person that I had to take the interview with would most likely value the soft skills more. So the way they interacted with the interviewee, the way they saw, okay, they were part of many teams perhaps. So anyway, whatever soft skills were most relevant at the time for that specific role, they would value them more than the technical side. And I know it's quite tricky, and I know you probably think I'm lying, but it really depends on the case. But I'd say most of the time, like 85% of the time, if you're not very under pressure from a client or with a project to hire someone who's very senior and very good technically, most of the time you can teach a person the technical bits, but you can't really teach them the soft skills as well. So you would look for people who already have those skills. And by those skills, I would say what pops into my head would be teamwork. Of course, that's very hard to assess in a 1 hour, 2 hour interview, I know, but as a thing to mention in your CV, perhaps in your projects, like I worked in a diverse cultural team, or I worked in a UK team, I worked in a team of 13 people. Some of them had this role, some of them had this other role. This is very valuable information to put in your CV at all times. Then I would say would be communication, the way you interact even with the recruiter. The recruiter is the first contact you have from the company. So I would say just be kind. When people advise you to be yourself, you can really be yourself, but that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be careful to thank the people you had the interview with, or actually explain in the best way possible what you did. Make yourself clear, make yourself understood. So communication and teamwork, I would say, would be my two top choices. And
Definitely.
also, I think I would say autonomy, because you can really see from the answers of a person in an interview on what they did on a certain project in the past, if they were autonomous or not. So if they really relied on everybody else to do work instead of them, or if they actually did it themselves or tried things out on by themselves, or yeah.
Great. So just a question. So Mohammed Muhyiddin, he asked, very nice to hear from Dora Crișan. So my question is, how AI will redefine digital marketing?
Really
In
good
brief.
question. um I was actually thinking about AI before starting this interview. I was thinking that whatever you guys ask me, or whatever advice you want from me, I would say one of the key things I have to mention in this interview is how to work with AI and how to work with generative AI to make it help your productivity, help your overall success and performance, because it's going to be everywhere. It is already not everywhere, but it is very spread. And in digital marketing, for example, I would say, of course, a lot of jobs are going to go away, but not because you don't need digital marketers. Please don't think that. You actually need someone to orchestrate all the tools that they use, but you won't need, for example, four digital marketers for the same jobs. 2 years ago, for example, they did 2 years ago, because now you have generative AI and you can generate a lot of things and do more tasks and write more emails and write more newsletters and more copies for Facebook or whatever, and generate more ideas for Instagram Reels or whatever a digital marketer does, with AI. So you would need one person or two people for the same thing you needed maybe four or five a couple years ago, because most of the job is going to be like the creative part, not the creative, but even the even the creative part, because it gives you ideas more easily, and of course you have to process them and you have to have the good brains to process the ideas the AI gives you, but it can help in the creative process as well, especially if you're stuck. Also, it will automate most probably most of the tasks that are boring, or like statistics. In digital marketing, you have to look at like engagement and likes and how much you grew your page in a month or so, and this would be automated for sure. I would think that, if they are not already by most of the companies.
Definitely. And like any technological advancement is a blessing. So it's about not fear about any advancement. If we make it our friend and we, like learn it, like like evolution, revolution in internet in 90s, and then, like now more and more technological advancement will come. So
Definitely.
how we adapt and learn to utilize it efficiently is very important. So this is really, we need to just learn how to go with it. So, like in the job market is constantly evolving. So, and this digital world, a strong online presence matters. So can you share tips for students on how to cultivate a professional online brand?
Oh, I wish I would be more fit to answer this question, because I don't really work on my personal brand online. What I can say as a former marketer and actual current branding specialist for an NGO, but it's not a personal brand. That's like an NGO brand, which is quite different. But for a personal brand, um, I do post on my LinkedIn from time to time, but I do recommend posting more on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is considered quite cringe with all the humble bragging people do there and stuff. But actually, the amount of opportunities you can unlock with posting on LinkedIn once or twice a week is insane. And I saw people achieving so much and opening up doors to other jobs or better jobs or highly paid internships or highly paid just contract jobs and gigs just through LinkedIn. So that would be definitely that would be one thing to consider. Um, Otherwise, be coherent. Oh, that's always in branding. That's always the case. Try to stick to yourself. Try to stick to what you like, and don't force yourself to do things that you're not comfortable with. For example, if it's really really not comfortable for you to film yourself in Instagram reels, if you open up a business page and you open up a personal brand, then don't do that. Maybe just stick to posting. Okay, try it. I would say try everything, try it more times so you actually see if you like it or not, but stick to what feels natural and organic to you, because that is the way you will grow the most, because those are probably the things that you will do better.
True. And whenever I hear this word, try everything, like the song from the Zootopia movie, animation movie, the song is amazing, I would also recommend the audience to, if you have time, you can listen to the song by Shakira. Amazing, and so many. It's full of inspiration. The song and the movie is also good. And we're almost at the end of the session. So many things to discuss. But the last thing that we'd like to share from you with our audience, um, balancing a healthy life and healthy habits. So, for example, for students, like sometimes most of the times, I would say, when we were students, we skipped our meals, taking foods or sleeping late or overthinking, mental pressure. And for professionals as well, we work, but less time to take. We think we are full of energy, but it has an end. So, according to you, how do you actually balance your work and life, and how do you maintain healthy life, and the importance of maintaining it?
Of course. Well, the importance goes without saying. I'm not Huberman. I'm not Andrew Huberman to talk to you about the importance of sleep and the importance of exercise and eating healthy and so on. But it's don't be too hard on yourself, especially when you're a student. It's really hard to be balanced. Like I've answered the first question, I think, in the same way. It's your life is going to be way out of balance at some point, anyways, as you're a student. So especially during the period of exams, but I would say just try to be more organized, and this ethic will come with time. With time, everything will be more easy for you because you will know exactly what you can do. And in that sense, I would say it's quite easy. Just make a list of the things that give you energy, of the things that are the activities that are like resources of energy for you. For example, it could be walking in nature. It could be video games. If they give you energy and they give you a good time and you feel energized afterwards. So this would be like the thing that the criteria I would give you, like what do you feel very happy and energized after. And maybe it's some sort of sport, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's journaling, whatever it is. And after you have the list, make actual uh, appointments in your day to have those non-negotiable things that you have to do every day in order to feel peaceful and good about yourself. So it would for me it's really it's working out, whether that means running or going to the gym, and reading. And I do an effort to do them not every day because I can't do it every day, and it's okay. You don't have to do it every day, and you don't have to do it 6 times a week or so, but at least a couple times every 3 days, every 4 days at least, so you actually feel like you did something for yourself. you and you only. Or maybe it's with a friend, maybe it's with your significant other, whatever it is. Just those things you can mark as non-negotiable in your calendar and have them actually block time for them. Block 40 minutes in the morning to read or to meditate or whatever makes you feel better. So I would say it's just, I know it sounds easy and it's really hard to put in practice sometimes, but it's actually just that for me at least.
Definitely, and it's like overall, it's all about individual self. Uh, what they like, what they should do to like design their career or future after graduation. It's all about actually everyone's self. The more you learn, read, explore, take care of your health, take care of your study, other things, everything. Then like it's a one life, and it should be not full of overthinking, pressure. All students, professionals, all should utilize their time properly and enjoy. So this is very important. It's nothing to worry much. Thank you so much for giving us some wonderful insights, very new ideas, advice. Because this is the thing, the way you have learned. Maybe it took years, but our audience, they're going to learn it within like 50 minutes, and it's actually a guideline that by filtering those, they can utilize this information and this advice and insights in their in their day-to-day life, and they can utilize it for their betterment. Giving that note, on behalf of School of Entrepreneurship Development, I would like to share our sincere gratitude for your time and this valuable piece of advices, information, and we wish you very best of luck. That's it.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Great. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.